everybody, and welcome to this segment of HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappi here, and today I am joined by a couple of the guys. We got Steve Watson and Jared Keene. Guys, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
There you go.
Good, Tom.
I'm so nice. I always got to make sure everyone's doing good before we get into the meat of our sports talk. So before we get into football, which I'm sure we're going to talk plenty about that. A couple of notes that I wanted to share. Some interesting things have happened. And to start, we actually got a little video right here. And here it is. Congratulations to Braintree League heading to the World Series, and there's their welcome parade. So best of luck to Braintree. Always good to see a local team in there. That's always impressive. Little League World Series, can't beat that.
I
But
watched a couple of their games. They have a pretty good team. They have a pretty good team.
yeah, I mean, I'd imagine to get to that point, you gotta have a good team.
Yeah.
And also, some big news just happened that's certainly gonna change my world for the better, and I'm sure many other people's worlds as well. And that big news is this: UFC and Paramount reaching a big $7.7 billion deal. UFC will be on the Paramount platform. All the fights, no more pay-per-view. The big fights will probably air on CBS since they're now owned by Paramount. Paramount just acquired CBS not too long ago. And I'm sure there'll also be fights on the Paramount streaming platform as well as perhaps the Paramount channel on cable. So what a great deal. UFC, no more pay-per-view. So glad that we don't have to pay $80 for the big fights anymore. Uh, any reaction to this, guys? I'm excited about it.
Steve, go for it.
All right. Yeah, so I think this is a great deal. The pay-per-view model definitely outdated. I think that was covered in the press release that was put out. So, right now, as it stands, you have to have a subscription to ESPN Plus and then buy the pay-per-view on top of it. It's like, where does it end? There's even bars and restaurants that stopped offering the pay-per-view. And when it was the old way, just the straight pay-per-view, it's only, I think, 50 or $60. More and more bought it. The price keeps going up. And, I think that the fan base has shrunk. And, you're a professional sports entity. You want your fan base to grow.
I think that could be argued with. I don't think it has shrunk.
Well, I'll be very honest with you. I've probably watched like 2 fights in 5 years, and both of them were at your house. So,
Well, not everybody's a fan, but I don't think it's
right.
shrunk. I
But,
think the
yeah,
the
but
loyal UFC.
before this deal, I watched a lot more.
The lo-
That's my point.
well, now you'll be able to watch pretty much all of them. So
Right. So
there you
now it's
go.
on Paramount, and because it's going to be some big ones. Apparently, the deal with CBS is going to be one each quarter. They're going to be the tentpole events, including one July 4th next
Yes.
year on the White House lawn, which I think is pretty awesome. I don't know who came up with that idea, but that's
And look, I don't
that's
care
legit.
what side of the fence you're on. UFC at the White House, that's just awesome.
Oh, and
That is
especially
pretty
on
cool.
July 4th when the country turns 250, you can't top that.
What a great celebration. You get some of the best gladiators in the world beating each other's brains out. You got fireworks going off all over the place. It's going to be awesome.
It is.
Jared, are you a UFC guy?
I'm actually not really a UFC guy either. But again, what I will say is, while fanship may have dropped a little bit, there's still tons of fans in the world who love UFC, and all this does is going to bring in more viewers. They want viewership. Steve kind of hit it on the nose. I mean, this deal allows more people to watch that may actually haven't watched before, and now brings in more viewers because of the easier access instead of, again, like Steve said, having to subscribe to ESPN Plus, then get the pay-per-view on top of that. This is going to do wonders, I think, again for maybe bringing in new fans and again just ramping up viewership, which is obviously what they want. They want eyeballs, So
Now, if
yeah,
CBS is smart when they have those Saturday NFL games, you go from the Saturday games. Actually, they have college on Saturday too, but you go from football right to UFC. How great would that be? That would just be a whole day right there.
I wouldn't be shocked if they did that. I think Dana had mentioned that there's gonna be one each quarter, tentpole event, big to do. So maybe in quarter four, October through December, once you have, if they have a football Saturday right around Christmas time, maybe they double up with UFC, perhaps.
Right. Well, it's at least one each quarter. There could be more. You never know with Dana White. Um, but there's going to be at least one a quarter. So that is great news. And that's not all the events. That's just the main events. You're still going to have the fight nights.
Yep.
And there'll be probably several of those. And I'm imagining those will be somewhere on the Paramount platform. And then you'll have the big cards on CBS. But absolutely incredible. I'm glad the pay-per-view model is gone for UFC. It's certainly popular enough now to where you will be able to sell advertising for this. And I think you could pretty much make the same amount, if not even more. I think they're going to make more money selling advertising for this. There'll probably be a few more commercials than there is on the pay-per-view, but that's okay. You don't have to spend that $80 anymore. Cable's already expensive enough, so having to buy those pay-per-views wasn't a big fan of that. But
Yeah, I agree. And if there's more ads and it runs a little longer, usually a card runs till 12:30 in the morning or 1 a.m. So what's a few more minutes? It doesn't really matter, right?
right, right.
right, you could even have the well, actually, I was going to say you could have the West Coast game and then go to the rest of the fights. But
It's a
it,
super long night you want, huh?
it is good.
That'd be a little bit of that would be a long one.
Well, hey, sometimes they have fights in Europe and stuff, so you never know. But usually those are the fight nights, the ones that are on the road in a different time zone. But UFC, it is growing in popularity. More and more people are wanting to watch it. Getting those pay-per-views certainly a hassle, but no more UFC Paramount $7.7 billion deal. It's going to be incredible. I think it'll work out well, and I'll be very surprised if they ever go back to the pay-per-view model again after this. I think it's going to be a big success for this incredible sport. But speaking of incredible sports, the Patriots had an incredible week one preseason game. They took down Washington 48-18 in week one of the preseason. Absolute domination. Now it is preseason. Take it with a grain of salt. But guys, always good to see the Pats get a nice win. Start off the preseason. Everybody looked good. A couple of good surprises. And, I don't think anyone really did too bad at all. Some of the rookies looked fantastic. So let's get your thoughts. Jared, why don't you start us off? What are your thoughts on that week one preseason Pats game? How do you think the team looks?
Certainly a good start. Again, we'll obviously see what we look like week one when we actually really get going. But this is certainly a nice start. Nice to see the team put up some points, get it going in a few different ways. Um, Again, I hit on it last week. You hit on it last week. Travion Henderson, I think, should probably actually start at running back. I mean, he deserves it. He's exceptional, and he's only going to get better too as a rookie. So, yeah, just really impressed. Again, looking forward to week one and seeing again what this team can bring. But yeah, just nice to see us get it going early, and hopefully we can keep it up here and again get it going into the regular season.
Yeah, I was very excited about Travion Henderson. I mean, he started off the game with the kickoff return for a touchdown. That was incredible, and ran all over the field, ran around defenders. Pretty much what he did at Ohio State. I think he's going to be huge for this team, and
Yeah.
I told Steve while we were at the game, because Steve was nice enough to take me, uh, that this is going to be your starting running back. I think he might not start week one, probably won't, but eventually he's going to steal that job. I think this is the best running back you got on the team. Steve, what were your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, night and day compared to the last few years. You can feel the buzz, you can feel the energy with this team. Obviously, Henderson with the electrifying return to start the game. And yeah, it's just preseason, but there's reasons to be encouraged. They played competitive, competent football, which we haven't really seen a whole lot of. Especially the last 2 years, but even going back the last like 3 years or so, just a lot of stupidity, mistakes, all that stuff. Team only took 2 penalties in the game on Friday night, which is encouraging, and none in the first half. So it just looked like a clean operation. It looked like they actually knew what they were doing out there, which is a vast improvement over what we've seen. So, yes, it's preseason. You take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of encouraging signs, and I think it shows that whatever they're doing in training camp, whatever they've done in the offseason, those fundamental things that you can get right, that you can control, they've improved on those.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's take it with a grain of salt, but you know what? You'd rather have them look good than look bad. If they look bad, you're kind of nervous about the season. But that game certainly should give you a good vibe. Now we didn't see too much of Drake May. We saw him for I think what the first drive. He
First
went
two.
first two. He went 3 for 5 for 12 yards. So we didn't see him too much, as expected. Usually you don't see the starting quarterback too much. We saw a good amount of Dobbs. He went 5 for 12 for 45. Nothing really impressive about him. They ran the ball a lot when he was in. But how about Ben Wooldridge? 9 for 12, 132 yards, and a touchdown. The third stringer looked pretty good in that game. Perhaps there's maybe a little competition for that second spot on that quarterback roster, but hopefully we won't need any of the backups.
Yeah, you hope not. With Dobbs, you have Dobbs there, to be that veteran in the room, and he is a mobile quarterback. He can move around pretty good, so that's good. Throwing was, like you said, nothing to write home about necessarily. Drake made the big knock on him, and Coach Vrabel touched on it a bit. Was the fumble, because that fumble there on the first offensive drive, that either needs to be thrown away to the sideline or needs to take the sack. That can't be a fumble. So obviously, we'd rather have it happen now in preseason than when the season starts in a month. But there's still stuff to work on with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guy I'm going to be looking out for is Efton Chisholm III.
He was good in that
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Very good.
6 receptions, 50 yards, a touchdown, 8 targets. It was the Woodridge Chisholm combination. Maybe that's the future of the Pats right there. But he's a guy that I think if he keeps those performances up, how can you deny that guy a spot?
Yep.
And he's not really expected to make it, but I think if he's going to keep doing that, you got to put him on that roster.
Fully agree that receiver room has a lot of competition too. So if there's a couple of guys who maybe stand out above the others, and it doesn't matter, veteran, rookie, acquired via free agency, trade, drafted, whatever. The best 5 or 6 receivers are going to be the 5 or 6 who are on the roster on September 7th. That's how it's going to be.
Agreed.
That's the thing I like about this preseason is there's many spots that can be won.
Yep, and that's how it should be because they haven't had that. I think it's been touched on a lot. Last year was like a country club. Everyone knew which role that they were going to play. There's no competition. Very laid back. Another thing that I liked in training camp last week, I'm not sure if you had it on your topic list, but I'll broach it right now. Mike Vrabel getting involved in the fight on Wednesday. You wouldn't have seen that last year.
No.
So that's where it all starts. It all starts with the head coach.
Did he get whacked too?
I think yes. He had a pretty good scar on his face.
Yeah.
He did. I'm going to guess he may have gotten nicked by like one of the straps on a helmet or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously you don't want to see a fight in training camp, but it's good to see the coach getting in there breaking it up because honestly, I don't think that would happen last year.
Hey, you know what though? I mean, I kind of like when they fight a little bit in the preseason, they're getting that energy going. It's typical at this point when you
Oh
have
yeah,
like
it shows they care. You just don't want it, spilling over into a full fledged brawl.
right. But I like the intensity of this team. I think they're focused.
Yep.
I think they want to win. I think the mentality's right, which is something we didn't really have last year. So all is well, I would say, and I was very impressed with the O line played well. I thought they were able to run the ball quite a bit, which is something that they were really kind of missing last year. The rookie looked good. The LSU kid, what's his name? Having a mind blank. If anyone can,
Campbell, Will Campbell.
Campbell. Yes, he looked fantastic. I mean, obviously, it's tough to notice the O line guys when you're at the game sometimes, but looking at video of him after, he had some great blocks. And
Yep.
he's a beast. That guy does not stop. He will run you over. I love that mentality. They needed that. They needed that intensity. So I'm excited for Will Campbell. I think he's going to be a huge part of the success of this offense
Yeah,
because
that's something they haven't really had a guy like that on the O line in a handful of years. They've had some guys who are okay, but with Campbell, you can see, and he's still a rookie, but you can definitely see why he was drafted fourth overall.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Jared, anything you want to add to the Pats?
Yeah, I think again, Steve touched on it, and I know we touched on it with Andy last show, and that's again the coaching. I think that's night and day again from last year to this year in terms of the difference in coaching, and the leadership that Mike Vrabel brings. Again, like you said, stepping into that fight, Steve. Again, never would have happened last year. It all starts with him, and he's clearly building a very different and obviously more impactful mindset and mentality than last year. More positive, winning, bringing physicality to this team. Again, which is all things that we lacked last year. So yeah, just couldn't be more excited about having a coach like him now, and just again excited to see what happens this season. You know, um, and agree on Chisholm. Just if he keeps it up, he deserves it. And again, it's nice to actually have some competition in some spots now for the sake of depth and getting the best players in those positions on the field.
Yeah, and another couple guys that I really like, John Giles had a couple of big receptions, 48 yards, and Jeremiah Webb, uh, he seems like a speedster as well, a couple of receptions for 41 yards. So those are two guys to keep an eye on. And this receiver battle is going to be very interesting going down the stretch. I mean, the only sure thing is, Stephon Diggs is going to be on the roster. You know a guy like Mac Hollins is probably going to make the roster.
Pop Douglas,
Right.
probably
But
Kyle Williams for sure. Kyle Williams has looked good.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. And then is it Javon Baker? Is it Chisholm? Is it who else? So
but I would say
yeah,
they probably have at least two, maybe three receiver spots open. Could even be more than that. But it's going to be a fun preseason to watch, especially if they keep playing like this. They looked great, but they got a pretty good test coming up. They'll be in Minnesota Saturday afternoon, week 2. That's going to be very interesting. Minnesota, obviously, a team known for their defense, and they got some weaponry back, kind of a different quarterback situation than last year, but they certainly have some weapons that the Pats will have to deal with. And I'd expect we'll see a good amount of the starters in this week 2 game since we didn't see much of them in week 1. Any thoughts on the upcoming Pats Minnesota preseason matchup, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun matchup. I think both teams will play their starters for at least a quarter, maybe even more. And I know they're doing a joint practice. They flew out today, so I don't know if they're doing 2 sets of joint practices, Wednesday, Thursday, but they're doing joint practice out there. I think the Vikings are a good team to do a joint practice against. They've had some good teams out there under Coach O'Connell the last few years. They have a good system. Even Sam Darnold looked good in that system last year, right? He went to Seattle and got his nice contract. Now they got J.J. McCarthy, who they drafted last year, in at QB. So, and Justin Jefferson, who does have the best hands in the league. So, yeah, they'll be a good test, I think. And they're an opponent you don't really see a whole lot, not too familiar with them. So, maybe see some stuff that you wouldn't typically see.
I bet you those practices are going to be heated.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh, yeah. Jared, any thoughts on Pats, Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm actually very curious to see JJ McCarthy. Obviously somebody we didn't get to see last year. Coming out of Michigan, coming off a national championship, and then having to miss last season. I think it's going to be I'm curious to see what it's like, for him now. Kind of see what he's got and how he's going to kind of handle things. Again, yeah, like Steve said, it should be an exciting matchup, should be a good matchup. Always, usually, competitive and solid squads in Minnesota. And I think Jefferson is actually a little banged up. I'm not sure if he's going to play this week. I think he has a bit of an injury, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, curious to see if he'll get out there. Yeah, obviously an elite player. Just, yeah, curious to see what the Vikings look like this season. What their offense is going to bring, and yeah, go from there.
Well, I could tell you one guy that won't be there for the Vikings, and that's Rondale Moore. He's been
Yeah,
placed.
out for the season.
Yeah, second straight year out for the
That
season.
sucks.
Yeah, poor guy. He's been injury riddled throughout really his entire career. Rough go at it. And then let's see any other news here. Well, Matthew Stafford wasn't out with the other quarterbacks at practice, so maybe he's a little banged up. And Tyrod Taylor, Jets quarterback, underwent arthroscopic knee surgery and will miss the rest of the season. So already the Jets losing quarterbacks before the season even starts.
Love it. Love it.
Those poor Jets. Yeah, I don't feel
No,
bad.
there's nothing poor about them. I have no sympathy.
Nah, they're the most obnoxious fans in football. I mean, I remember just being at a Pats Jets game, and those Jets fans would not shut up the entire game. And then finally they shut up when Brady had a great fourth quarter comeback and took the win on a night that the Pats probably didn't even deserve to win because they didn't play great. But Brady worked his magic, and then all those Jets fans were laughed out of Gillette Stadium like they deserve.
Oh, hence why you said the Jets fans can throw beers at his statue.
Yes, that was a great quote.
Just had to sneak that in there, right?
Brady's funny.
He is.
He could be.
He is.
That speech was epic. Loved it. Let's see. Texans placing tight end Brevin Jordan on season-ending injured reserve due to a knee injury. And Jordan Love having some issues. He underwent a procedure on a ligament in his left thumb, and that was suffered in Green Bay's disastrous preseason opener. The Jets absolutely walloped Green Bay in that season opener. They hope he could return to practice this week and be ready for the season opener. So there's kind of a look at the situation around the league. And hopefully we don't see too many injuries in the preseason. Never like to see guys out for the year in the preseason. That's no good. But fun preseason so far. I like what I'm seeing. Take it with a grain of salt. I mean, things could look very different in the regular season. Mm-hmm. But hopefully they'll look relatively similar to what we saw the other night. But a nice week one and a nice way to start off the season for the Pats with the Brady trophy presentation and the speech. I think it kind of gives the team a good vibe heading into this year, having that ceremony. All right. So, any last thoughts about football before we move on to a little Red Sox? Anyone can just
Yeah, I've got one.
go
Let it
for it.
rip.
It's good to see a lot of starters playing across the league in preseason. Like you've seen Joe Burrow play, since you've seen Patrick Mahomes play. There's been so many teams the last few years. Come September, they just look atrocious and not ready to play. And you wonder, what did you guys do all offseason, all training camp? And honestly, the product as a whole has suffered. There's so much bad football on, especially
Uh,
early season. So I think teams are taking it more seriously. Harder off seasons, harder training camps. They're playing preseason. I know week one there's a lot of division games. So,
they should. It's only 3 weeks now,
right, exactly. And, you know, since they made the move down to 3 preseason games, I think the product in the last few years has gotten worse because teams just do not look ready to take the field. And it needs to get better. It's across the league. It's here, problem here in Foxborough the last few years. Look at Cincinnati last year. They thought the season started in November because they just weren't ready in September and October. So, I think you've seen a lot of teams across the league kind of take note of that and okay, we need to be ready to go come September because every game counts.
Yes, absolutely. And I just wanted to mention too a couple other guys I was really impressed with watching some of the games. Shador Sanders looked fantastic for the Browns. Won't surprise me at all if he steals that job.
Same here.
And another guy who I think is probably going to end up with the starting job, Jackson Dart for the Giants. He looked really good. So those were two guys that I was impressed by.
Although I'm sure he'd prefer Tommy Cutlets.
Oh yeah,
Tommy Cutlets.
gotta have Tommy C. Gotta have Tommy Cutlets in there. They have to keep him around. I
Oh,
mean,
they have to. It's a
Yeah,
rule.
it's a must.
he's like the most famous player on that team. He probably always will be too, no matter what he does.
I was impressed with Shador Sanders though. I think yeah, I mean like you guys said, I think he could definitely end up stealing that job. I mean, there's not really a lot of high quality ahead of him, so to say. So yeah, but he looked impressive this weekend. I thought he played well.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's not going to surprise me at all if he ends up becoming the eventual starter over there.
Yeah.
Who do they got? They got
Flacco.
Black. Oh, yeah. What is he? 47 now?
Yeah, he's getting up there. He's probably the stiffest competition to Sanders because you got
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Deshaun Watson. So he was out for the year anyway.
Yeah, Shador
But
Sanders is going to be starting.
Yeah.
He
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked one bit.
might even start week one at this point. But look out for the Giants. I'm telling you, Jackson Dart. I think he's the real
The
deal.
Giants, eh? Okay.
Let's see any other guys that impressed you or anything else you want to mention, Jared?
Um,
Threw you right in the fire, didn't
no,
I?
but I'm gonna throw a fantasy football question at you guys. What is your one bold fantasy prediction for this season? Give me a bold prediction. You can take a second, but I want a bold prediction from each of you for this fantasy season.
On a certain player or just in general?
Yeah, on a certain player.
Steve's in my league, though. Now I got to give away my secret.
Well, it's not really a bold prediction, but I'll bet you Christian McCaffrey will get hurt again and be a useless draft pick.
Okay.
Huh?
And that's not really bold because that seems to happen in most years anyway.
Uh, Look out for Travion Henderson. I think he's
Okay.
going to put up some numbers. And also, I probably shouldn't say this since Steve's in my league, but if you're looking at quarterbacks in the later rounds, backup type of guy, maybe a Shador, maybe a Dart. Those are two guys to look at. Obviously, you don't want them starting week one because you don't even know if any of them are going to, except maybe Shador with the Brown situation. But those are two guys that could possibly arise towards the middle of the season. So might be a good backup quarterback pick there.
All right. So I will give you a bold prediction. None of the Chiefs' offensive weapons will be in the top quarter of their stat categories.
Interesting. Okay.
Because
Yeah, they
so
put the ball out.
in our league, Mahomes was the 10th round keeper for several years and was not kept this year, which
Yeah.
in my view is very telling on where that offense is right now.
Well, they got what's his face? Was it Rice?
Yeah, they had him last year too, though. And
Yeah,
Travis
but
Kelce's not getting younger.
no, last year he got hurt though, like for half the season. When he was there, he made an impact. He was probably the best receiver they had. So he's a guy that could possibly make some noise. And then they got another guy who's a speedster.
Xavier Worthy, and that's actually my bold prediction. I think Xavier, I think it's interesting because I don't think running the football is going to be the Chiefs' specialty this year. So I think they're going to go half back to kind of air it out offense a bit. I actually think Xavier Worthy ends up as maybe a top 12 receiver this year. And again, that's kind of bold. He's a second year player. But you saw it towards the end of the last season. He showed real flashes, including in the playoffs. He's got wheels. I think he's probably going to see the most targets there again this year, and I think they're going to throw the ball. So that's kind of my bold prediction. But yeah, it's weird though, because yeah, I mean, I think there's reason to also think that Mahomes is as
Yep.
you said, if he wasn't kept in your league in the 10th round, like, that could be telling, but I do think they have to probably go back to throwing it a lot this year because I really don't think they might run it a ton. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a team that went 11-0 in one-score games last year.
Well,
That's not going to happen again.
the thing about that is you they're always going to be thinking about Mahomes' health. And, if they're passing all the time, that could put him in jeopardy, especially because of the way he passes, how he runs around and, hucks the ball downfield. He gets out, on the wing and, in open field and is at risk because he's flying around. So,
He
you
is at
know,
risk, but sometimes actually that's where he's at his best. He makes some of the most ridiculous plays out of the pocket. But
that's
no,
true.
I hear you. He's more vulnerable, obviously, out of the pocket. So
I would say they probably start off a little slow. They probably run the ball a little more in the beginning of the season, and then maybe as the season goes on, they open it up more and more. But that would be
yeah,
something to watch for sure. All right, so there it is. Week 1 of the preseason in the books. We'll be doing our picks soon enough. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. All right, let's talk some Red Sox. They're 65-55, 4.5 games back. I guess my thoughts about the Red Sox is I think at this point, it's a disappointment if they don't make the playoffs. I think they definitely need to find a way into the postseason. Can they go far? Probably not. I think they're lacking pitching. I like the young lineup. I mean, I think they're going to be a great team for a few years, especially if they keep, the core they got now. But I don't know if they have enough pitching, especially with the way it's performed lately. The pitching hasn't been necessarily great. But I think you got to make the playoffs. You're second place in the AL East. You're right at the top of the wild card race. No excuses. Steve, any thoughts on the Red Sox?
Yeah, if they don't make the playoffs, that would be an absolute failure. And I think they should gut the coaching staff if they don't make the playoffs. It's very simple. They make the playoffs, you keep the coaching staff. If they don't, you clean house. There's no excuses. This team has the talent. And I don't want to hear about the trade deadline, how they didn't acquire pieces, this and that. This team is good enough to make the playoffs as constructed. They have so many one-run losses.
Yep.
And so many of those you can pin on sloppy base running, terrible fielding, horrible decision-making by Alex Cora. If they were just a little bit better in one-run losses, they'd be in first place by several games probably.
Well,
Look at the run differential.
I'll tell you what. Overall, in the second half of the season, it's been way better than the first half.
It has. It's improved, but now they've lost 3 straight, and 2 of them one-run losses where it could have easily been a win.
Yeah.
Their run differentials of the current playoff teams in the AL, they're plus 83, which is the second best. So they're right there. It's a matter of avoiding those one-run losses, those close games. They could still use improvement in those. But I fully agree with you. It's playoffs or bust. There's no excuses left.
And of course, the one night they finally give Crochet some runs to work with, he looked terrible.
Right. Of course, probably his one of, if not his worst start out of the year. So hopefully they can rebound And I know they've got the Yankees upcoming next weekend. So, and you
Big
guys take
series.
advantage of.
Big series.
Yes.
You know what? It's probably the most meaningful Yankees Red Sox series in years.
Yes, I agree. And surrounding
Yep.
that, you have games against teams who are out of the race, like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, teams like that. Those ones you got to just do your job and take advantage of those.
Yep.
Jared, any thoughts?
Yeah. Agree with both of you guys. Have to make the playoffs. Don't make the playoffs. Got to be disappointed. And I think you definitely have to at least would consider cleaning house in the coaching staff, as Steve mentioned. Like we talked about last show, Tom, it's exciting to, have some young talent on this roster. I mean, we touched on Roman Anthony last show. What a player. Just a stud. I don't really like what Jordan Hicks is bringing out of the bullpen. He's not looked good. Um, and that's a little scary and because he can make a difference in some of these one-run games that we're losing. But he's been brutal. But yeah, again, just it got to be, there's definitely reasons to be excited about this team. I really love what Alex Bregman has brought to this team. You got a nice mix of, again, yes, a few veterans and again, some good young talent. So hopefully make the playoffs here. And again, if you don't, have to consider everything, involved again, including cleaning house. So yeah.
All right, I like it. Playoffs is a must, Red Sox. They got to do it this year. It's been too long. You got the team, you got the record, you're in a good place, no excuses. Long time no see. How are you?
Doing good. Doing well,
Mhm.
Tom. Hey, Jared.
It's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back.
Been a long time. When was our last show? It's been a while.
Been a few months at least.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, the spring season, absolutely crazy. I think we were all
Yep.
busy. Jared, you're covering lacrosse, I believe.
Yep.
And Andy, you had some things going as well. So unfortunately, we didn't have too many shows during the spring, but that's about to change because it's almost football season. So we got to do our NFL picks. And new this year, we'll be doing some in-studio shows and perhaps some live shows. So that should be a lot of fun. More details on that to come later on. But exciting stuff coming your way because we just love our viewers and just want to do as many shows as we possibly can. But guys, it's been a wild few months of sports. Obviously, right now we're in the midst of baseball season, and the Red Sox, after kind of a slow start, it seems like they trade Rafael Devers, and they've actually been playing better than ever. I think since early June, they're what, 17, 18 games above 500 since early June, and they're now 62 and 51, second place in the AL East, only 3 back of the division leading Toronto Blue Jays. They're at the top of the wild card race. The team might be young, but they're looking good. Let's get your thoughts on the Red Sox. Andy, let's start with you.
Well, I got to give credit where credit's due. They're playing great baseball, no doubt about it. They absolutely manhandled the Houston Astros this weekend. It really wasn't even close. Roman Anthony seems to be the real deal. I mean, there's the ceiling for this guy it's got to be through the roof. But this team, they're winning games. Now, think of it this way, right? They've lost how many one-run games this year? It's got to be 20. Can you imagine if they've won half those games? This team would be head and shoulders in first place right now. And I don't want to be negative because they are playing well. They've exceeded everybody's expectations. I don't think anybody expected this team to do anything this year. But it still kind of bothers me that they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. I don't even know if they even think how good they really are. Are they a playoff team right now? Yes. You have to say that they are. I mean, they're right in the thick of things. Um, if they get in the playoffs or they go deep, I don't know.
Uh,
Here's
and to interrupt you, in 2025 in one-run games, they're 6-17.
That's, I mean, that guys, just think of it. If they're 500, they're the best team in the American League. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. But that was a while ago. They are starting to win a lot of these run one games now. They beat the Dodgers a couple of 2 out of 3 of the Dodgers. They did well with that. So they've beaten some good teams, no doubt about it. But here's what I'm going to tell you. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But I really think at the end of the day, talent is just going to catch up with this team. I just don't think this is not 2018. This is not 2004 or 7. It's not even 2013. I mean, guys, let's face it. This team is not on the levels of those championship teams. They're just not. There were Hall of Fame players in those teams, okay? But the way the American League is right now, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if I guess if they get in and they do some damage because I don't think anybody really has taken that next step. The Tigers, the Yankees, the Blue Jays haven't really taken that next step. The Astros kind of haven't either. So the Red Sox are kind of in the thick of this thing right now. But the Mariners made some big moves too. So it's going to be interesting. But that's really my sticking point is I just think eventually, like, look, say for example, they got into the World Series somehow and they played the Dodgers. Guys, it's not even close. The talent on the Dodgers is head and shoulders above this Red Sox team. And I just think when it gets into that type of level, that's where their downfall is going to be. That's where they should have spent the money. And I can see why some fans are still upset. But I think right now, you're just going to enjoy it. They're winning games and they're playing well. And their schedule in August doesn't really look awfully hard. So they still should be in the mix of things. But let's see what they do in September.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're certainly maybe overachieving a little bit, but are they? I mean, there's a lot of young players on this team that we don't know what we're going to get out of. Such as Roman Anthony and Castro and Rafaela and all these other guys, and a lot of these guys have been pretty consistent. I know it's only been a couple months really since we've had a lot of the youth in the lineup on a regular basis, but it's been pretty consistent. And I was happy to see him make a couple deadline moves. I would have liked them to do a little more, but at least they added some pitching because that's certainly what they needed the most. But I like the direction this team is going in, and they seem to be confident that they could go the distance. And I also think camaraderie is everything. This team seems to be having a good time out there and getting along well. And, I think the last piece of drama was Devers, and he's gone. So ever since that, they've been playing some great baseball. I'm not expecting them to win the World Series or anything like that, but I think this team's capable of quite a bit, especially if they keep up doing with what they've been doing with the bats lately. Jared, what are your thoughts?
It's tough to, fault this team right now. This team is playing good baseball. Again, 6-17 is in one-run games is, that says it all. Again, like Andy said, this team could be head and shoulders above everybody else if we win a few of those games, or some of those games go our way. Roman Anthony is absolutely the real deal. What he brings to the lineup, defensively, just obviously has a high baseball IQ. Just a tremendous player, really fun to watch. Lucas Giolito has been pitching really well recently, pitched really well the other day, has really come around after a bit of a shaky start. And, who's really been on fire and really been smashing it for us is Trevor Story. Not a lot of people thought Trevor Story had much left after his stint with the Rockies, yada, yada, yada. Started out a little rough here, but he's been top tier recently, just been hitting the crap out of the ball. Definitely disappointing that they didn't try to get Joe. I guess they tried to get Joe Ryan from the Twins for pitching, the trade deadline, and probably made that move too late, or tried to, but Yeah, a little disappointing there. But again, yeah, like Tom said, love the direction this team is going. Rafaela has been awesome. He's been good at defensively in the outfield, and he's shown good defense at second base when he's been put there. So yeah, like that Devers is gone. Yeah, just really curious to see kind of where things go from here, and just tough to really fault too much about this team right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they kind of brought Trevor Story back to life. It looks like maybe he was on his way out, but he stepped it up and he has been playing some great baseball. And he's one of the older guys on the team now, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But good to see him revitalized. But, I think camaraderie means a lot in this sport and being drama free. It's the teams that win the most are usually the teams having the best time out on the field. And you could see that this team's having a good time out there and that they are gaining that confidence and they think they can compete with anybody. So, it was a little rough coming out of the All-Star break, but then they turned that right around, kind of got back on the winning track. And now you got the Yankees falling flat on their face. I don't know. They're going through all kinds of commotion over there in the Bronx, but they had an incredible start and they're kind of disappearing. Are they going to come back? They're certainly capable of it. I think there's too much talent on that Yankees team for them not to come back. But I like what I'm seeing out there. I mean, this team's definitely overperforming. They're definitely doing a lot more than we expected, but I think it's great because I'll tell you, this was a dead franchise. And I mean, they've had what, 3, 4 bad years in a row now. So good to see them back and at least being competitive. And wasn't this what we were all looking for going into the season? Don't be knocked out of it by the All-Star break. Be right in there. They're right
Yep,
in there.
they are.
I think at this point, it's probably a disappointment if you don't get at least a wild card spot.
Oh, massive disappointment.
Yep.
No, the expectations have changed, guys. They either are a wild card or win the division, or it's a failure. I mean, you are right there. No, there's no excuse now. You have to get into the postseason because if they miss it, it's gonna be another long off season for this team.
They might not win the division because Toronto's playing good baseball right now, and has been for a little bit now. But yeah, I mean, we should at least again hopefully try to get a wild card, and if we don't, definitely a massive failure.
Isn't that surprising too? Toronto started off the season really bad.
Right?
They've
They're good,
they've
playing
really
very
turned
well.
around.
Good lineup.
Toronto actually leads the league in batting average with a
Yeah.
264,
Yeah.
6 points above Milwaukee Brewers, who have a 258. But the Red
Milwaukee's also
Sox,
been playing good baseball recently,
Yeah.
actually.
I was just about ready to say it. The Milwaukee Brewers are really starting to impress me. They could be the team to really watch out for in the National League. They've beaten everybody. I still think the Dodgers have the best team. I just think they're just so good, and they're gonna click when they have to. But the Brewers, that's a team you need to watch out for.
oh yeah. I mean the Sox 253 batting average are in the top 7. Brewers number 2, 258. Brewers certainly a team to look out for, and they're another team. If you watch them play, they're having a good time out there on the field as well,
Yep.
and they seem to have great camaraderie. So, yeah, and they're young too. Brewers are a young
Yeah, they got
team.
some good young talent.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting down the stretch. But I think the Sox are in it for the long haul, and that's why I was glad to see them invest at least a little bit at the deadline. Wish they got a little more, but hey, they finally made some moves at the deadline, which was good to see because typically they do nothing but sell off. So I was glad to see them add a couple pieces that could potentially be useful going down the stretch here.
Definitely
Uh,
some useful pieces, but again, I would have liked to have seen them try to go a little bit more aggressively early for Joe Ryan from the Twins because he would have added, some real quality again to our rotation, as a good like number 2 or number 3. I mean, obviously Garrett Crochet has been elite this year. And again, Lucas Giolito is really starting to pitch well, but if we got Joe Ryan for what could have been maybe a decent package, again, that would have really done some wonders for our rotation for sure.
No, definitely. But I guess at least baseball season is once again interesting in Boston
In a while.
because how many years up to this year have they been done by this time?
Oh, it's just
Without a
been absolutely
chance.
dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. But no, they are definitely it's actually good. It is good that the team's good. It gives you something to talk about, because right now if they weren't playing good, we're just like waiting for the Patriots to kick off their season. So at least we got a little bit of something to talk about.
This isn't Red Sox related, but on the note of baseball, it is insane how much Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs has broken out this year. He is outrageous, man. I mean, the guy is
Cubs are good.
already a 25-25 player for the Cubs, playing good defense. He does everything. He is insane. I mean, at this point, I mean, at this rate in the season, he would have been like a top 2 or 3 fantasy pick if the season started like today.
Yeah.
That's nuts. The guy is
The Cubs are good.
out of his mind. He's so
Who,
good.
who traded him there? Was it the Mets?
I don't know. I think he's a Cubs prospect. I think he came up
Oh,
through the Cubs
really? I
system.
thought he was traded there, but I've been wrong before. Not as much as Steve, but I've been wrong before. But
I mean, what a player though. The guy is nuts.
nah, he really is. Yeah, he's an impressive player. Uh, but I'll tell you, this Red Sox team, they have some pretty impressive players as well. Uh, and some of these young guys, I think, really have quite a future in this league. I'm trying to load some of these averages here. Of course, they don't make it easy. Uh, but I'm really impressed by guys like Rafaela, who's been impressive,
Yeah.
and I think Roman Anthony is going to be an absolute stud for this team. Probably,
He already is a stud. I mean, he's batting
yeah,
third in the lineup. He's obviously shown defense. I mean, he's come in and made an instant impact, which is kind of what we needed.
oh yeah,
Especially since Marcelo Meyer is injured a little bit now with his wrist, and they might have to bring Christian Campbell back up, whatever. But yeah, Roman Anthony's been top tier, and I'm also really happy they didn't trade Jaron Duran because I know that was discussed, but the fact that
yes,
they didn't trade Jaron Duran shows, that they want to keep some youth, keep some talent. Yeah.
yeah. I think it would have been a big mistake trading Duran
Yep.
because he has played very well, and he's been a boost for this team.
Yep.
It's certainly a
Yep.
guy you're going to need if you're going to make any kind of run. Now, again, do they got enough to win the World Series? Probably not, but I'd say they certainly got enough to keep it interesting. That's for sure. So we shall see. We'll certainly stay up to date on the Sox, and maybe Andy doesn't have to be so mad about the Red Sox this year.
It's not good. It's not good if I'm mad. I don't want to be mad. I want to be positive now. So it's try to turn over a new leaf here.
That's right.
Does that mean you have an undefeated pick season incoming right
Uh,
now?
oh, I don't
Oof.
know.
Any what?
An undefeated pick season if he went undefeated this year. I mean, he was hot at the end of the year last year.
He
Oh, that's
was.
right. Yeah, yeah, I was.
He
I think I
almost
picked.
caught me. Almost.
It's cool. I think I picked Carolina a couple times and they won games. I
They
mean,
did.
that's when
Yeah,
I know I was doing well.
we should set you a trophy just for that.
Picking
Speaking of
Carolina.
football, why
Yeah,
don't we talk some football?
let's do it.
So we're in the midst of summer camps here, getting very close to the preseason. This has already been the Hall of Fame game, which wasn't really entertaining. But we got preseason coming up. Pats have the Commanders in their first week. I'll actually be there with Steve. Uh, be there for the show, of course. And they're going to have the Tom Brady statue ceremony, so that'll be cool. But I'm hearing Drake May looking very good in camp. They're very impressed with his release time, and he seems to be getting along well with Diggs and the rest of the receiving group. I'm seeing all good reports. Obviously, it's summer camp. Take it with a grain of salt, but I definitely expect this team to improve. They certainly added talent. Any thoughts on the Patriots as we head into preseason play? Jared, we'll start with you for this one.
Yeah, I'm actually not really sure where to start. I think I'm very, very excited to see how this team competes and plays under Mike Vrabel. I think the coaching is going to be the biggest difference this year, because I think he's going to bring, um, he's going to bring, kind of a different sense of, positiveness and physicality, and I mean, he's just head and shoulders above, anything that we've had recently, I guess, besides Belichick. So, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be it's going to be very exciting to watch again this team play under him. I could see this team being a wild card team, but I could also see this team being winning like 6 games. But I'm very excited to watch Drake May. I'm also very excited to watch Travion Henderson, who I think is going to be awesome. Um, Kyle Williams is another player that also very much excites me at receiver. Again, the defense should be more physical, more talented, especially on the line. Again, that physicality and some of the talent there will be, I think, critical in some games. Um, yeah, but I'm just really excited to get the season going. I think there's a lot to be looking forward to about this team. And, again, we'll kind of see how it plays out. Obviously, not an easy week 1 matchup. The Commanders played some good football last year, and I think we'll continue to play some good football this year. But yeah, just kind of excited to kind of get week 1 going and see what this Patriots team has.
Well, that's
Only
their
time will tell at this point.
preseason week 1 matchup, not their
Oh yeah, yeah,
one matchup.
preseason, yeah,
But week 1, I think they got the Raiders, so that'll be
they
interesting.
do have the Raiders. Yeah,
Right off the bat, you got Tom Brady's Raiders. Can't get any better than that. The storylines are going to be there for that one, that's for sure. I'm surprised that's an afternoon game, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I mean, you know, I think if this team gets below, I'm going to say 8 wins, it's a disappointment. I think this team should be 7 or 8 at the least, 9 or 10 at the most is kind of where my expectations are.